We at it. We back at it. Back at it again.
Hello.
Yes. Route 104. We're here. My name's Kevin. Still. I don't know if I've ever introduced myself on an episode yet.
I don't think so either.
I don't think I've ever said my name.
But do you need to?
I mean,
do you need an introduction?
I would hope that there's people listening that don't know me, but that's not really happening yet. But it's okay, because that's not the goal here. The goal is interesting conversations with interesting people, making these connections. I'm here today with someone who I've been with on plenty of different ventures. We got a Kevin and Tanisha Mix It Up veteran. Go back and listen to that.
OG. Hold up.
OG. We got
me out on YouTube.
We got a Brothers by Law collaborative venture. 2/3. Yeah. Go check that out. A couple of them are really good. There's 13.
You got a pretty good shooting percentage. I mean, it's like 41% is good in the NBA.
There we go.
Might not be good for podcasting, but you know, we're just going to...
I mean, not all podcasts are made equal, you know?
No.
So, I'm listening to a really good podcast. I recently got into the true crime podcasting world, and...
it's deep. It's a deep world.
Yeah, I committed about 9 hours to true crime since Saturday.
Jeez.
Crazy stories. So, yeah. Well, Alex Culver here. He is my brother-in-law, which means he's married. He's a father of 2. Really caring guy, empathetic. You know, he's a counselor. He's a professional. So he sometimes counsels professionally, or they're been there, here and there, back then and where. He's someone who uses his words very wisely.
Are you sure?
And sometimes sparingly, like he knows the situations in which to talk or keep his mouth shut or speak up or any of those things.
Not often enough.
He's a guy who has dice, yellow and black Steelers dice, still in his windows to this day. So yes, Alex Culver, my brother-in-law, here to join me at the beginning of this Route 104 journey. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I'm probably, not to speak for your other guests, I'm probably the most geographically challenged of your guests. I think I know what 104 is and where it's at, but I'll just act like I know.
Yeah. You know, it's just a little stretch of road out here on the southeast side, and
because now we're using those terms against southeast. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Route 104, man. It's the road in which I grew up off of. Just a little strip of road.
Okay.
You know, Refugee Road. That turns into Route 104.
But ain't there like 2 of them? Or I'm thinking of Bryce. There's like 2 versions.
Okay, no, there's 2 Refugee Roads.
Oh, there are 2. Oh, we'll see.
But Refugee Road, when you get all the way down and it turns into the freeway, that's Route 104. And you got to get off Route 104 to get back on Refugee. But Route 104 keeps going all the way to South High Street and beyond.
I'm gonna look that up on the map one day.
One day. You could look it up on my logo. It's there. Look at that.
Man, you got everything, man. You thought of everything.
It's there. So, yeah. Well, you know, we've had plenty of conversations, some in which very deep, some in which not deep at all, but reflecting maybe on some of our past conversations. What is a topic? And like I said, go back and listen to them if you're interested. If you listen to a short clip of this and you're like, I want to go and not listen to that exact episode, I want to listen to another episode, go pick one out. From Brothers by Law, yes, or Kevin and Tanisha Mix It Up. Go pick it out, one with Alex, and you'll learn something new. But reflecting on some of those conversations, what's a topic that we've discussed that's resonated with you most since we've had that conversation?
Man, there's been so many. And for what pops in my head, the first thing that popped in my head is to change your phone sideways when you're recording and not vertical. That has nothing to do with anything.
So that was,
but advice important. That I've seen, it's been very poignant, and I've seen it now, and it's horrible when it's vertical. Honestly, at one point we were talking about kids and priorities. Because as a father, you do certain things, you work a certain amount of hours to earn this in order to afford clothes and activities for the kids. And at some point I was saying something like, I want to spend more time with Jackson, but I got to make money so he can eat school at lunch. And you just said he doesn't care about lunch.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about lunch. I was like, dang. That's stuck with me, and it's come up in different ways, and I've always thought back to that conversation we had about it, because it's true. They don't always see or care about the sacrifice you're making. They just know if you're there for them when they need you. So that's what about you though? I mean,
well, something that stands out to me in that is, how do you eat school at lunch?
Eat school.
Because I know he wouldn't care about eating school.
That's how I said it.
That is.
Oh man, yeah. It's been one of those days.
Eat school at lunch.
It's been one of those days. It's been one of those. He could eat a school for lunch. You've seen him eat.
He could.
You've seen him eat.
He could eat a school for lunch, and then he could pass a school. He could pass many school lunches.
Epic movements.
Yeah, man. That stuff is all, I like having a good time, but when we really get into it, that is definitely the stuff that stands out to me, is the parenting conversations. And, my goal with this podcast is to be a little less on wait, let me see. How many parenting questions do I have here? My goal is to talk a little less about parenting and a little more about those, connections in life. But that parenting and mentorship and all that, that's where I live at. You know what I'm saying? So it's not always the best for my own, but I know how to talk about it. So, cool. Well, we'll start out deep. I like to just start out with a few,
start deep and then come back out.
Come back.
Okay.
Back and forth.
Okay.
Can you share a recent moment that's had a profound impact on you, either personally or professionally? And I say professionally is because I think this is a theme of, like, a lot of the people that I'm going to end up talking to within this probably either have their own thing or have a dream or are going through something within their job. Like, it is more of that focus, but either personally or professionally, what's something that's had a profound impact on you recently?
Man, and we're staying away from parenting, right?
No, I mean, whatever. You don't have to stay away from parenting, because parenting does influence all the rest of, the ventures and things that we're into.
Yeah. Someone reached out to me. He has a business, and he's an author and does other stuff. And he has fathers read portions of this book that he just wrote. And I don't think it's out yet, but so I went to his house and we actually recorded something. And great guy, we talked about just our childhood and how it's reflected on our parenting styles, yada yada, that kind of stuff. And then we talked for like an hour after that, and he invited me to this father-daughter dance that I had a chance to go to. And
whose daughter did you take?
My own.
Oh, okay.
I ended up taking my own. I mean, it was a hard decision to make, but I decided, I'll just take that one because she's free.
She's there,
and she's free. Her schedule is clear. I took her. Growing up, I never really saw good examples of fathers, not just my life, just generally around. I didn't see marriages. I didn't see fatherhood. I saw moms and I saw their kids. Right. And the dads that I did know of, I mean, you probably didn't want them as your dad. So I go to this
definitely
dance.
Not at a father-daughter dance.
I mean, I went to this dance, and don't get me wrong, I thought it kind of looked like a Detroit Players convention because like you saw the hats, you saw some people in like, you know, some suits and stuff like that. I didn't know exactly where I was at. And some of their older daughters had like the fur. I don't know really where I'm at. But
they were saying things like, "Hey, young gun, what you know good?"
Yeah, I'm like, man, this ain't the crowd. Man, there's easily 150 dads there with their daughters, and it was crazy to see because we're obviously at a point, and also within my own personal life, you of course, my coworkers, other friends that I have so many great examples of engaged fathers, and it's just night and day from what I grew up with. So that, I mean, I was taken aback just by seeing it physically in front of me, how many people are out there, and it just inspired me to go further with that and do what I can to further that and make the best life that I can for my kids. And so, I mean, most recently that's probably been the biggest thing for me. Just challenging myself to reconsider what that looks like. But yeah, that's.
Well, you're doing a great job. I can tell you that much as a dad, you could tell just by watching how much your kids love you and how much your wife tolerates you. So
that's a good litmus test. How much can she tolerate you?
Yeah, keep it up. And my dog decided to have dinner just now, so I'm glad we got in. I'm glad he chose this minute to have dinner and not while the washer was going and we were waiting to get started. But if you hear that in the background, shout out to Bo. So next question. So what's something that you've been particularly passionate about lately? Something that sparked your interest?
I've been really big on trying to learn new skills in lieu of not scrolling as much. I'm trying to take away the whole scrolling thing. So I figured if I spend 30 or so minutes a day scrolling through something, if I can replace that in learning a skill, what would that be? I've tried
true crime.
I've tried with books. I truly have tried. I just fall asleep. It's the greatest sleep medicine for me. And not saying it's over forever, but for right now. So just trying different things. I just got into coding. So there's a little app that and you can learn how to code. And I'm like, all right, well, if I do this X amount of minutes a day to replace me hopping on Instagram, because when I go on Instagram and TikTok, I go deep, like a deep dark hole. And then I mix YouTube in there. You know, it gets nasty. So not trying to waste my time.
Yeah.
Learn something instead. Keep your brain engaged and, you know, elastic and stuff. So I've been big on that, trying to make the most out of the time that I have because we've little time.
Hey, listen, I feel that. And that is definitely, that's something in this household, even I've been cognizant of trying to, you know, realize what example am I setting in terms of scrolling. Like I don't know how much, you know, your daughter's not really into Instagram and TikTok yet.
No, not yet. Well, she will watch you on it.
Yeah. But yeah, what's the example that I'm setting? We recently like took YouTube away from our 8-year-old, 7-year-old. And it's like, okay, if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to take that away, which obviously her brain is not developed yet. My brain's kind of developed at this point.
It's mostly there.
I'm not getting the same, maybe not the same, you know, euphoric, dopamine rushes, watching families run around on YouTube, but still like, okay, if I'm going to say that this is bad for you, then I also got to realize that it's bad for me.
Yeah.
So I definitely commend you on that. And it's definitely something we all should definitely think about.
Learn a skill, learn something.
Yeah. And the more I just pack onto my plate, the less time I have.
You don't need to learn anything else. I mean, I mean, come on, you're the Swiss Army knife. I mean,
it's learning time.
What do you need? You know what I'm saying? Just hit Kevin up from, videography, supervision. He's a fantastic parent. He'll fix your sink. I mean, like what? The range. Yeah. I mean, it's
there. And, there's still so much that I don't know.
Still so much.
Imagine. So with that, those passions of learning and coding and whatever, replacing dead time with, future oriented, alive time. Well, not with that, but aside from that, have there been any big obstacles that you faced recently? And if so, how have you navigated those obstacles?
Honestly, it's kind of just been trying to understand my role within my own family, and my job. I work from home, and that status has changed around so much. How available am I? What can I do during those hours? What can't I do? Has changed around a lot, and unfortunately, that's impacted my wife considerably. So, honestly, just trying to. I mean, we talked about being an example in what they see. They see me working. They see me sitting at a desk, essentially. They don't see me working.
Right.
They just see dad who isn't reading this book with me, or, play pretending that I'm eating a peach. When you hand it to me, that's what they see. So I'm trying to find actually 4 years in, a proper work-life balance that includes them when I can. And I'm gonna be honest, I've struggled at it a lot. Whether just not feeling it that day, or you get kind of tunnel visioned into a project or something, and you just want to get it done, get off your plate, and you can kind of just ignore people during that time. And I'm guilty of that. So I think that's just been the obstacle for me personally. Navigating being here but not being here for me.
Yeah. Well, we're one and the same, because that was another one of my questions, is how do you prioritize that work-life balance? And not yet, but you're figuring it out, huh?
Figuring out, and not always perfect, but we're this summer we're going to focus a lot more on Jackson, getting him, my oldest, into activities. And I'm realizing like when I was a kid, I was outside so much, and you just got used to playing different things, and whatever, kickball or whatever it was, you just did it because that's just what you do. And he hasn't really been exposed to that in the same way. We were outside playing the other day, and he asked me if he could bring his flashcards outside. I'm like, no.
He's like, man, can I bring my TV with me?
I was like, no, you can't. You can't. I got the basketball hooked up. His scooter's out. His bike is out. And he's asking my flashcards. I'm like, I failed. So that's
he gets dressed and puts his white shirt on and his tie,
the fanny pack,
grabs included his Bible, and he sees the Mormons walking down the street. He's like, my people, wait for me. He's like, that's the outside.
Oh my gosh,
that I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's a different beast, but man,
hey, listen, y'all be careful over there with them Mormons. Have y'all seen? They're out here heavy.
Every now and then I see them. We can scope them out, and we got the nest. So I've stayed away.
I'm saying, once he's outside more, because they do not have a problem walking up to children and asking them what they believe, bro. They walk straight up to Gavin while he was playing basketball, introduced themselves, start talking about religion, and the lady from across the street start yelling at him, y'all don't talk to these kids.
Oh my gosh.
So they hit Jackson with he'd
be enlisted.
He's going to be like, hey, yo, what? Now, I haven't heard about this yet. They'll definitely recruit.
Everything's a good idea right now, Jackson. So yeah, every new idea is perfect. My gosh.
Well, I'm glad that you guys love the summer heat as much as you do. So be
we're
right out there in the
man,
mix.
we're outside all the time. You know what I'm saying? We get around.
Yep. So with that, we talked about, family and getting out into the world and more active this summer. But beyond that, what are some goals and aspirations that you're looking to achieve in the near future? Be that, whatever, family, job, future jobs.
I think we've three main goals this year. The first is health. Getting to a place where we're just healthy. We're eating better, making better decisions. We're moving more, drinking more water, all that stuff. I don't foresee me being ever beach body ready, but just in a healthy space to where I can say, you know what, I protected myself. I worked hard to stay here, and
maybe wash that beach body. But beach body nonetheless.
Yeah. I'll settle for that.
Me too.
I want a dad bod. You know what I mean? Like that's goals. So health first priority. I think the second one really has been traveling more. We didn't get to do a lot last year just because we got bogged down by our own dumb mistakes. So just trying to get out more, and even if it's not to a place, just every other weekend or so, getting some kind of new experience in as a family, getting the kids swimming, getting into activities, stuff like that. Just be more engaged in community things and just getting out the house, because we've seen. We're what's not house people. What am I trying to say? We're like homebody. We're homebodies, and now we're raising a homebody.
Yeah.
And at the age of 8, you can't be a homebody yet. So he's, too early for that. So trying that. But
if you gave me the chance, I was going to say hermits, but I'm glad I didn't have to throw that out there,
That would have crushed me. I'm glad you didn't say hermits. Okay. I'm glad that you didn't get that out.
In there, in that little rock, under the rock of your roof.
Yeah. Too comfortable. Also trying to start a private practice this year, and that's been in the works for 5 years now, seems like. And I would like to do it sometime before my license expires. So get all the business stuff together, get my work life. And that's largely when I want to get my work life balance together so that I know what I can get into with that. But I don't know, just a lot of goals. And I don't know if it's all going to be this year, but just making a right step in one of those directions would be everything, really.
So when you say your license, what is that license? What is your work life? What is this private practice that you speak of? What would you privately be practicing? Because I used to be really into a show called Private Practice,
where they were all like 3 different areas. One was like a doctor and one was like I know what you're talking about. I got you. I'm a licensed professional counselor. So I have from the state of Ohio the ability to diagnose and treat mental illnesses, and bill insurances and all that good stuff. So private practice for me would just either look like me, working, having an office and seeing people in person, or even working virtually still at home. But getting just a couple of clients, getting into that routine of turning my brain off and just listening, which I'm also concerned about. I work mostly I work entirely for the state right now, and it's a techie job, and I love what I do, and I love the people I work with, but it's not what I'm in school debt for. So I figure
it never is.
Give it a shot. It never is though.
So private practice, counseling, these ideas about starting this up, these new family goals. Does growth or the idea of it motivate you, or scare you, or a little of both?
I want to say a little bit of both, but I'm if I'm being very honest, I think it scares me more often. I mean, you've heard of imposter syndrome, right?
Yep.
And I'm diagnosed myself years ago. I'm grade A imposter syndrome, and it's shown up in different times in my life, not just me as a counselor, me as a parent, me as a supervisor. And what I've appreciated in having opportunities for stuff is you get to see like, all right, no, you're not bad at that. You actually are pretty good at this, or doing things that challenge you, and kind of just shows you what you can do when you really put your mind to something. And I've had the chance to experience that, but I still kind of get into that path of like, all right, but if I try this over here that I haven't done in years, then it's going to be all bad. I'm going to lead somebody down. I'm going to not say the right thing. Someone's going to be under my care and they're going to be crying and I'm not going to know what to say. Like I'm going to not be of service to somebody. And I think I've had this narrative in my head about it. And honestly, I think that's why it's taken 2 years for me to even do anything in the realm of counseling. I say it's because of Riot and I wanted to get myself together, but it's honestly, I've just been battling imposter syndrome of like, surely I can't just do this myself and be like serviceable to somebody. So to your question, does it motivate me? Most oftentimes it scares me, but I'm trying to focus on the motivate part and be challenged by it and allow myself to fail at something, to strive towards it. I just gotta give myself that chance too.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely taking those steps. It often it feels like there's no safety net. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing something for yourself and you don't have rich mommy or daddy or this already built up thing that's been handed over to you, when you're like really starting from the ground up and you're in it for yourself, as motivating, as exciting as something can be, there is always that, like, I'm not afraid of failure. Yeah. But if I fall, I ain't got no parachute. Like if I mess up in my job, okay. Like if I really, really messed up, like not break the law, mess up, but if I really messed up, like the worst thing that's going to happen is some sort of performance improvement plan. And we just keep it pushing. Yeah. And I just learn from it and get better. If I mess up within my business, I don't have no performance improvement plan to put myself on. It's just you. It's just me.
No one that you can look at and be like, So do you go through that then? I mean, you try on different things, you not just professionally, but just in life, you try out different things. Do you ever go through that of, I don't know, do you ever fear taking a chance on something?
Well, I've never failed. No, I'm just, bro, I'm always I've feared, it may not be imposter syndrome, but for some of the stuff, like it's, what if I'm not good enough? Like there's things that I know I'm good at. I know I'm good at the work that I do. But when I start DJing, that's a new skill. I know I can be good enough, but you get put in the right situation at the wrong time too early, it might all be over. Like the first big party I ever DJ'd, I was not ready for that. And I was terrible. And that could have been it. Like I never worked with those people again. You know what I'm saying? So that was it. That could have been a great avenue. Who knows? It wouldn't have been. They also never worked again, but I'm just saying. Same with photography and video. I've been good to this point, but man, I always think about the day like, what if my backup of my backup fails, and I don't actually have two backups. So what if what if these things happen, and I have to be the one to be like, hey, I lost all of those photos that you paid me all this money for, and we can never get that day back. We can never do your wedding again, so I definitely get nervous. And then let alone going into this next phase of life where like, it's not just me, but there's all these, like, I'm the only employee that I have right now, but at some point in the near future, there's going to be employees counting on me, and, other humans that are all counting on you to do well. Yeah. So, and do well with no safety net. So you have to create this safety net. I think that's what I'm learning now is there isn't one built for you. Nobody's handed this to me. Nobody's handed it to Tanisha. And we have great people in our corner. But you have to build the safety net, and that safety net is often relationships. The safety net costs money, right? It's insurance. It's accountants. There's all these people that make up your safety net. And that's what I'm learning now, especially within the past month. And as we put those things, it's your own contracts and policies and, the things that keep you safe. Who knew, right? Who knew? But you gotta do the work to put those things in place. And as they get put in place, you start to feel, like you start to feel less of that fear. Hopefully. Yeah. That's what I hope for, work to do the work, work at the work at building the core, work at building that safety net, and then focus on doing the work. What is the work that you're doing? And why you're doing it. Good question. What a great segue. Why? The question is why. Why do you decide not just to go to school for counseling? Because, that was way long ago. Again, once you get a degree, you can literally, once you get a bachelor's degree, you can do anything. You chose to forge ahead with that and could get a master's degree and do and do internships and all these things to actually go in that direction. Why counseling, and who's your target audience, right? You said families, kids, just anybody, individuals.
That's been a big part of it. When I first set out, I told you about the whole Freaky Friday thing, right? We've had that conversation.
Yes, on the Brothers by Law podcast.
Go watch that in favorite DSP. Yeah. I think
it's your interview episode.
Got it.
Hold on. Bo, can you please move?
When I first, when they sit you down in when you're in school, they locked us in this room, and then we were all we partnered up, and we were just in either dyads or triads, and we're counseling one another. And some of us would make up a story or something like that. And whoever I was working with, I don't know, the 20 minutes or so that we were working together, and you kind of conceptualize what this would look like as a career, and the conversations you have, and the seeing someone else boosted up. I don't know. There's just something about that dynamic of helping someone help themselves. It just it was like an addiction, and it was fulfilling, and I just got drawn to it. And so I knew drug abuse runs deep in my family. So I knew I wanted nothing to do with drug abuse. I wanted nothing to do with kids, because I would adopt them all. So I'm just going to work on, I don't know, rich 40-year-old housewives, right? that's the goal, right? We want to get money. So when I started my internship and they placed me with inner city kids, all, oppositional, defiant, all ADHD, all one strike away from being suspended from school. I was like, well, this ain't it. This is not what I signed up for. That's not my target audience. I don't work with that. They were kids that and for some of them, I saw myself in them. I saw the situation that they were in, and I could just see how I looked at them and I would see a blank canvas. Mm-hmm. But they would see their situation however they saw it. I hate my mom. I hate that I have these rules. I hate that people see me this way. Whatever was going on with them. And for some that were receptive to it, I got to see them grow. And I think just at that time was also different for me because I had Jackson and I'm like, I know at some point he's going to be this age and he's going to have these feelings and we'll have these conversations. And the 10 kids I worked with, it was just like, it was almost like healing for me. I none of it was focused on me, but it was, there's just something just so wholesome and giving about that exchange. And I never would have ever thought, yeah, I'm gonna sit down with a 10-year-old and we're gonna play most of the time and talk about his favorite Five Nights at Freddy's. But I never knew that we would get to a place, or I would get to a place where that was doing something for me. So honestly, target population, though I hate working with parents, what I know so far is working with kids. Maybe stretch it out to teenagers and stuff like that, and maybe work my way up to adult. But because these adults, mm-hmm. a lot of stink on it.
Yeah. But I love the way you initially started that out, answering that question, because I feel like a lot of people. It just doesn't go for counseling, but I feel like a lot of people that are in the social services industry don't say that. And I don't even know that I said that, is that you're working with someone, you're counseling someone so that they can help themselves. And I feel like we are just, as people, like, you often want to put the superhero cape on. Yeah. Of saying, like, I did this. Yeah. I helped them. Yeah. I want to counsel people so I can help change them. I can help them do better. I can help them stop using or reunite with their family. And the way you started it is by saying, help them help themselves. And,
I learned we'll be humbled real quick. And it's been like you've had friendships or relationships with somebody, you're dropping gems on them. You're like feeding into them so much. It doesn't matter unless they take it in or they receptive to it or they make some kind of action towards it. It means nothing. They ultimately have to do it. And so, I don't look at it at all like I'm doing anything. It's all them doing that work. I'm just giving them the space to be aware of it.
Did you learn that at some point? Or because, again, you get into psychology and counseling, like, was your initial thought, like, I want to help people? Yeah. And then that transition to, oh, wait, like, I can only do so much. When did that transition happen?
Man. And I think it happened that weekend when we were locked in those rooms where, like, because then you get stuck with all right, I got to say the right thing at the right time in the right way. Because if I don't, the whole thing's over. And you get so stuck on that. And someone would be talking to me and crying. And I'm thinking about what my next question is going to be. And then they stop talking. I'm like, oh, where were we at because I'm looking at myself like the treatment and I'm not the treatment. Yep. But I think we got humbled in that way of like, you're not, none of that is you. That's it's all them. You just bring them to that space. So yeah, I think that's everyone's journey of understanding, like, you're there as a vessel and nothing more, which is nice too, because it kind of takes away the responsibility too.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, yeah, that's a word. That's definitely a gem. So, because I look at Tanisha sometimes or listen to her have conversations with people, and I just be like, just tell them. Just tell them what they need to know, because I know what you need to say. You know what you need to say. And all you're doing right now is listening. And it's taking so much longer.
Yeah. And I'll say she's hard too, because I think she also contributed to it. I was like, because I would see her in spaces and I'd be like, I would have never thought to say that. That's just off the dome. I would have never. So I'm thinking, all right, I gotta be there in these conversations with people, and that just wasn't me.
Yeah.
And she'll trick you. She'll make you think like, she's got all that stuff, and it just comes so inherently. But me, I'm different in that I don't always have the right things, but yeah, she's great at she knows what to say, but she'll let you arrive there.
Right.
She'll let you arrive there.
Not me.
Well, no.
I don't get the same grace all the time.
The spouses don't.
No, spouses.
Keela doesn't either. She gets
doesn't count all the time. So, all right. Well, speaking of Tanisha, in episode 1 of Route 104, she touched on the thought that and I just posted this clip actually not too long ago, is that there's an idea between being comfortable and complacent. So when you hear that, what do you think? Is there an area in your life, maybe this counseling journey is one of them, where complacency is being disguised as comfort, or vice versa? I
think it's one of those things where you got to do like a daily, weekly check of, you use the term yourself, hermit. We're very.
I was going to.
You're going to.
I was going to.
You didn't yet.
I was going to.
You didn't yet. We're very. I would have said, oh yeah, we're very comfortable in what we have, but at the same time, I think you could also detail it further and say there's a complacency there, and that we. A lot of things challenges, whether it's social circles or that person that you don't really like that much, and they're going to say that one thing, so then you just stay away from it altogether, or you're you quote unquote protecting your peace, so you stay out of certain things. But it all kind of boils down to complacency in some kind of form or fashion. To go further, we were talking, and she hit me with this note. I had to write it down in my notes app.
Tanisha?
Yeah, she said, I want peace and whatever comes with it. I was like, that's a bar. Because
where'd she be getting this stuff?
I'm saying she has these things, and I would never just sitting down with a human being and be like, you know what? You should strive for peace and whatever comes. I would never do that. That would just never come up. Because you fight to. Whether it's a boundary that's been pushed on too much and you're finally realizing it and you're done with it, you're going to be hit with different things. The person that no longer wants to talk to you, or the people that shun you out or say something about you. Fighting for peace often comes with a lot of different things. And with that, I think when we're complacent, when we're in some kind of zone, we can tell ourselves that we're comfortable. But more times than not, we just kind of become acquainted with that situation, and we're good. Yeah. And so it's hard to identify it. Like I said, it's a daily, weekly check, and so I think that's why this year we're trying to do different things, because we've grown complacent with how we spend our time, and I think and now that we we acknowledge now that our kids need to be out more and see different things, it's forced us out of that comfort zone and be like, all right, it's gotta be something else.
Yeah, I definitely we have definitely been moving in the direction that we're moving in as a family, and me and Tanisha together, business and all of that. But, you know, we recorded that episode in January or mid-January, and that was something that really stuck out to me because, I mean, my whole existence in life, like all I knew from the adults in my life is you get a job. If you get a good job, you stick with it. And, you know, my wife has been bucking that trend, but it's always been like, yeah, but you're the outlier.
Yeah.
Like, I got a good job.
Yeah.
Even if it don't pay amazing, like, I'm comfortable, like nothing. I can make my own schedule, do this, do that. Like, everything about it is comfortable. And if I own my own business, I think I can make my own schedule too. So maybe that would be comfortable. If I step out over here and somebody wants to pay me this amount and I can tell them this is what I want to come do this. Yeah. I need flexibility. I would be comfortable there too. So if I could force, you know, use my skills and talents and whatever to be comfortable in any situation, it must mean that I'm complacent in this one. You know, it's just something that I definitely have been thinking about recently. And, you know, life is a journey, and I'm not planning on, you know, I'm not jumping out of a plane anytime soon. But I know that my mom worked at JCPenney's for 30 years. That's awesome. Maybe there was more out there. My dad did one thing, you know, and that, you know, our parents, they find a job, they get up, pack their lunch pail and go to work. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why they maybe didn't want more, those mindsets weren't available, but
it's a generational thing. And honestly, I mean, you think about it, our identity is led often by our vocation. You introduce yourself. Many people would also, like, for some reason, inch in there what they do. Yeah. It has nothing to do with who you are. It's and it can be a 9 to 5. I'm a cashier at McDonald's, like, but that has nothing to do with your identity. But we introduced it there because we have this concept that your vocation is a part of your identity and vice versa. So I think our trend of like changing jobs every so often, that just wasn't a thing back then, because once you get a job, you keep that thing. I've had 11 jobs too. This is, I think, the longest I've been at a job where I'm at right now. And it's only been like 4 or 5 years. So I get it, but it's just a change in times. But
yeah, buddy. Well, I know you got the skills, you got the technique, the wherewithal, the want to, the drive. You just got to tap into it to do whatever. And, you know, I think that for so many of us, that's the biggest part of it is not having somebody else to tell you like, you got this, or let's make this jump together. You know, we about to be out here, you know, just having somebody else to believe in whatever it is that you want to do, even if it's not something they know how to do, you know, and not feeling judged by the idea of giving up on a sure thing for something that could be great, could be a lateral move, could be, you know, but not factoring in that this thing that could be great or this thing that might not end up, it's my thing. And that really matters more than anything. So, feeling that support, man. I definitely want to, with my mindset shift, I'm definitely pushing and trying to find ways to continue to support others in whatever journey that they're on. So
I'm trying to keep up with my brothers-in-law, man. My brother-in-law's got that entrepreneurial spirit. Always, man. I'm trying to tap into that.
Yeah. We gotta see us make some money first. So I'll look at somebody else until I start making money. Don't put that on me. Well, to wrap this up, based on your experiences and what we discussed tonight, what's a takeaway or piece of advice that you just like to share?
Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to, and I'm talking to myself, Alex, be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to make mistakes. And I know a lot of us, because we're so aware of what everyone around us is doing 24/7, the vacation they took, the baby they had, the job they just got, the car they just bought, the home they just moved into. We're constantly comparing ourselves to where we are and where we should be. Be patient with yourself. Janet had a baby at 60 something,
Yep.
Just when you're at work and you're like, man, I should be moving up. Just think, Janet had a baby at 60 something. Age is nothing.
It ain't. And LeBron just scored 40,000 at 80 something.
40,000. So. He set another record last night.
What was that one?
Whatever his new point total is. He said he's the first to get to it.
Yeah. Every night from now on.
Every night. Yeah. New goal.
Well, the only bad thing is that, Caitlin Clark just moved into first place in college basketball history, men and women.
Man.
Unfortunately, LeBron, he's in last place.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because,
So,
right.
It's a record that can never be broken by LeBron.
Never.
But just imagine LeBron played 4 years in college before going to the NBA. He's still got about 4 or 5 years left in the NBA. So he could still get to 40,000.
Still.
You know what I'm saying? He could still, but he could also be the all-time leading scorer in college too. He for sure wins 3 national championships.
Oh yeah, it's not even close.
So
it's not even close.
At the end of the day, be more like LeBron.
Yeah. Be more like LeBron.
Peace.